is that firearm was in the truck and the crime had allegedly already occurred. And so you might, if you have somebody legally inclined, or we have an engineer on the panel, if you get somebody with a very analytical mind, they're going to say, well, neither one of these applies. And so then you're going to put them in a position where they have a special jury finding saying, during the commission of the offense, did the defendant actually possess a firearm? And if they go back and look at this and analyze it literally, the answer would have to be no, because there's no evidence that that nobody saw her with the firearm in her hand, so they can't say that she actually possessed it on her person. And the way that B language is written is that she has access to the firearm with the intent to use it during a commission of a crime that has already occurred. And so, having been an attorney for a long time, if you gave me that definition and that special verdict finding, I'd say no, she didn't actually possess it because neither of these apply. So I kind of fall back on what I told the court yesterday was, I think the best practice here is to allow the jury to use their common sense. I don't think it's possible to discharge a firearm without actually possessing it. And that the very first paragraph of that instruction says, if you find that Ms. Rodriguez committed murder and you also find that during the commission of the crime she discharged a firearm, that requires actual possession. And so I think the smartest thing to do is to not instruct on to actually possess a firearm. And I was going to, as I was typing it, I was thinking, okay, well, just for the record, I would object if the court wanted to give A and B, because B is a misstatement of Florida law.
Okay, then what about on page 2 of the verdict form, number 1, actually possess a firearm? Still give that interrogatory to the jury?
I don't even, if you read the first paragraph of 3.3D closely, it doesn't even require the special finding that she actually possessed a firearm. It requires a special finding that she discharged a firearm, and in doing the act of discharging it, she caused death to Jackson Barnes. Nowhere in that first paragraph does it say that she has to actually possess the firearm. It just says that if you find that she committed murder beyond a reasonable doubt, and during the commission of that crime, she discharged a firearm, the essential element that first paragraph is asking about is, do you find that she discharged a firearm? It's not, do you find that she actually possessed and then discharged a firearm?
Okay, thank you. To the state?
Your Honor, I do believe that discharging a firearm, common sense dictates that if you discharge a firearm, you're possessing the firearm. The verdict form is written the way it is because that's the standard from 3.12 jury instructions. And I'll agree with Mr. Kleins. I'd love to be on the jury instructions committee as a practicing attorney who actually goes to court all the time and would have it make a little bit better sense, but these are the standards, and I'm not sure if the defense would like to change the verdict form to take away actually possess, with that being the standard 3.12.
Well, and just, I'm a firm believer that there are appellate cases that say no matter what the standard forms say, we are charged with getting it right. And just by following that standard doesn't mean we're getting it right.
I'll agree in this case. I know the standards are preferred, and I apologize for not standing your honor.
You're fine, you can remain seated.
The standards are preferred, and the Florida Supreme Court says in a plethora of case law that they prefer the standards over any specialized instructions or specialized verdict form. But I think it is absolutely common sense to discharge a firearm. You must actually possess it.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not sure if it would create an appellate issue to not give number 1 as a special finding, but...
Okay, well, let's start with page 6. To actually possess. Can we get rid of those definitions?
I think so. I think the smartest thing to do here is to get rid of the definitions to actually possess and then get rid of the first question on the special verdict form, because that tracks the language of the first paragraph of 3.3D. Because the jury is tasked and instructed, if you find beyond a reasonable doubt that during the commission of the crime she discharged a firearm. That's question number 2 on the special verdict form. So I certainly understand why the actual possession language is in there, because I'm sure we can all sit around and come up with a dozen different factual scenarios where that's an issue. But in this, given the facts of what is happening here, and given how that instruction is currently written, it doesn't ask the jury in that first paragraph to make a finding of possession. It just asks, do you find that this person, that the defendant discharged a firearm that caused death?
Okay, so any objection from the state to the court not reading the alternate definitions of actual possession on page 6 of the proposed jury instruction?
As the evidence stands now, no, but the state does believe that there would be evidence that comes out. Ms. Rodriguez did actually possess a firearm. But I'd rather revisit the issue at the close of evidence, and if Mr. Klein still feels the same way at the close of evidence, then the state would have no objection to changing it.
Okay,
And I'll, just so that your Honor is aware, what I'll do is, I will double check the annotated statute on 775.087, just to make sure that there's no case that says this absolutely has to be a finding. I don't want to create an automatic reversible error by overlooking the fact there may be, I don't know, a Florida Supreme Court opinion saying this has to be found.
And that's my concern as well. I don't want to take it off the verdict form if
Right.
at the close of evidence we discover that there's some case law that we
Right.
might actually.
And so I'll do that today. I mean, I'm pretty much sitting over here, so.
well, in my concern on page 2 of the proposed verdict form, what if they say no on number 1, but then yes on 2 and 3?
Then you would have a legally inconsistent verdict. So that's why I think as long as there's not mandatory case law that this has to be, that question number 1 has to be in there, I think it's much smarter to remove question number 1 and just put, renumber 2 and 3, 1 and 2, and say those are the 2 things that instruction is requiring you to find. But again, I don't want to walk everybody into a trap where we overlook a case that says, no, this actually has to be a finding.
Okay. And then we'll talk more about page 17, abnormal mental condition, at the end of the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they've removed the clause in the standard instruction that says the defendant in this case has become a witness. They removed that.
When I looked through everything, Judge, I did not see that. I saw defendant not testifying, and there was no standard for defendant testifying. So my opinion is that if it's not there, then we would simply remove the defendant not testifying if she decides to take the stand.
I think that was a paragraph in weighing the evidence.
I think you're correct. Yes.
Correct. I don't think it's a special thing of its own. I think it's included in weighing the evidence.
And I can understand why the committee may have taken it out, because then it really points to the defendant, and the instruction says applies to all witnesses. So I understand that. When we finalize these, if you'll renumber, 20 should be 19, 21 should be 20, and 19 should be 21. Therefore, I'm telling them that you're giving closing arguments after I told them about the verdict form and everything else.
That's 20 should be 19, 21 should be 20. What was the last one, Your Honor?
19 should be 21. As far as page 22, the options as far as what exhibits go back,
Judge, I believe both will be appropriate, both A and B.
And I highlighted for the court and for the defense to note about the firearm. I think that would be appropriate.
and you may want to expand that to say about biohazardous exhibits, because there were a lot of those. So you may want to say firearms are biohazardous exhibits, or whatever term of art you want to use.
If we're going to add that, Judge, I would ask that to be a C, so it's not included with the firearm and something of itself.
Okay.
We can do that. State has no objection.
And then when y'all make copies, and I really appreciate your time, do not make copies of page 23, instructions upon discharge of the jury. Just give that to me and to the attorneys, but don't give it to the jury. I don't want them to be distracted by it. And we'll only have one verdict form that the court will send back. Okay, anything else you want to talk about between now and 9 o'clock?
No, Your Honor, none from the state.
No, Judge. Well, I apologize. If the state does close today, then obviously the defense is going to request time to speak with my client.
Yes, sir.
After making a motion, and then we would likely come back and address the court. That's a process that I believe could take a little bit of time, which means if we're getting right up on lunchtime, if for some reason the state were to close before lunchtime, I would just want the court to be aware that we're going to be seeking that additional time.
Yes, sir. I'll get y'all to approach. We'll talk about timing of things. You know, if it's closer to the end of the day, we'll just have to figure out how that all works.
Yes, sir.
And I agree with what you just said. And then if we get to the actual closing arguments, we'll have to figure out how do we want to do that. And final instructions in relation to the end of the day or going into the night or tomorrow morning, we'll figure that out.
And I don't believe it's an impossibility, but I would anticipate that we would probably be going to closings tomorrow, given what we have left to do. Obviously, we have to see how the schedule and the timing goes today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it would be the state's preference to perhaps do what we did yesterday, let them leave a little early and do closings first thing in the morning. Even if we do end our evidence based on the fact that we will have to have another charge conference, motions and all of that sort of thing.
The defense perspective is we would not like to give this to the jury late in the day today if we're approaching the end of the day.
I understand. Yes, sir. Okay, we're in recess until 9. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, this is Chris Norman at Bulldog Bail Bonds. Our office is in Crestview, Florida, but we service 7 Northwest Florida counties. If you ever find yourself in a jam, please give us a call. We're here to help you out.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AV preeminent rated. Dixie Dan Powell works tirelessly for his clients, as is evident by this extraordinary verdict. If you're taking your case to trial, be prepared. Contact Dixie Dan Powell and Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667.
Backbone Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview's historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items, and we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving lunch from 11 to 2. We hope to see you soon.
Hello, I am Bonnie from Body Be Healthy here in Crestview. We have been serving the area since 1999. We're an alternative health food store. If you're interested in bettering your health, we'd like to invite you to stop by. We're located in Court Plaza. Stop by and let us help you be healthy.
I'm Amanda Gaskin with Briarpatch Realty. Helping qualified heroes save money is my passion. When I help a hero buy or sell a home, they receive a check from Homes for Heroes. Check out amandasheroes.com for more information.
For more than 70 years, the sweet aroma of the Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs has permeated the downtown area. If you have not experienced the unique flavor of Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs, then I encourage you to join us for lunch. Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., Friday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We're located in historic downtown Crestview at 107 North Main Street. Call 850-683-1045.
CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer since 1999. We're state licensed and insured, family owned and operated with 24 years of local service. We specialize in shingles and metal, re-roofs, repairs, and leak specialists. For all of your roofing needs, call us today or visit our website at cqroofing.com. CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer.
Hey, I'm David at Family Vision of Crestview. We've been providing excellent optical service for Northwest Florida for over 34 years. Come in and let us take care of you.
Man, I got this. Let's roll.
Fight fire with fire, take one.
Have you been injured in an accident and need righteous representation? Call us, because we fight fire. Damn thing ain't working. Whoa! Not cool, bro.
I'm attorney Coy Browning. Personal injury is no joke. Just ask him.
Injured? Take a breath. Call Coy.
Check out the soaps, bath bombs, and other bath and body products, all made by hand with natural ingredients at Hub City Soapery. Visit us at 1092 North Verdon Boulevard in Crestview or shop online at hubcitysoapery.com. Hub City Soapery.
This is Tiffany Woodham, State Farm's newest agent in Crestview. I'd like to personally invite you to stop by my office for a no-cost policy review. Let me help you start saving today. Call in, walk in, or click in at yourcrestview.agent.com.
Alex Barthay from the UPS store once again, and I wanted to let you know about our Sunday hours. We're open now 7 days a week. Normal hours that you've been expecting, but now we're open Saturday 10 to 4, Sunday 10 to 3, and that's both our Crestview, Fort Walton Beach, and Eglin Air Force Base locations. So you have things to do, go and do it. Just know the UPS store is going to be here. Again, Sundays 10 until 3 p.m.
For years, I proudly served Florida as a state trooper. During that time, I investigated over 1,000 car, motorcycle, and trucking crashes. My mission was simple, to help the victims. Now, as an injury attorney, I can do even more to help accident victims. Hi, I'm attorney Coy Browning. If you've been injured in a car accident, I'd be honored to help you. Call or visit us at browninglawfirm.com.
Hi, I'm Wanda Roberts. For the last 20 years, I've been helping the residents of Northwest Florida buy and sell their properties. My office is just 1 block south of the courthouse in historic downtown Crestview. Give us a call at 850-398-5389.
Hi, I'm Michael Gilbert, defense attorney with Warrior Law. I represent those accused in Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton County. If you or anyone you know has been accused of a crime, give us a call. We can help.
The Cottage Formalware, located at 648 North Wilson Street, has all your needs for looking your best. We have homecoming, prom, and pageant dresses. We have tux rental suits, vests, ties. Need something casual? We have that too. Shop Hometown First and visit us on Facebook at the Cottage Boutique and Formalware. We're located at 648 North Wilson Street. Call 850-682-2446.
Thank you. Please be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you so much for your time. Ms. Sandlin?
Your Honor, the state calls Derek Casselli.
Stand right here, face the clerk, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Right, and be seated. You'll speak in the microphone as well.
Good morning, Mr. Casselli. Can you say and spell your name for the record?
My name is Derek Anthony Casselli, DERIC ANTHONY CASELLI.
How are you employed, Mr. Casselli?
I'm employed at Jimmy's Men's Store in Pond as a sales and
How long have you been working at Jimmy's?
approximately 28 years.
And what is the nature of Jimmy's business?
We sell firearms, we sell jewelry, we do some pawn.
Is part of your job responsibility for records concerning firearms transactions?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am, if you'll show Mr. McKinney first.
Absolutely. The record reflect I've showed Mr. McKinney and I'm approaching Mr. Casselli with what's been previously admitted into evidence as States 31. Mr. Casselli, can you tell me what this is?
This is the federal form 4473 used for the transfer of firearms from us to an individual.
And when you say transfer of firearms from us to an individual, does that mean when you sell a firearm to an individual?
That's correct.
And is that a copy of a receipt from Jimmy's Pawn Shop?
It is.
Is that the official receipt from Jimmy's Pawn Shop?
It is.
And you're familiar with the official receipts from Jimmy's Pawn Shop?
Yes.
And does that indicate who it was sold to?
Yes.
And do you keep those records in your regular course of business?
Yes.
Do you give a copy of these to whoever bought the firearm?
Yes.
And that's what you staple the receipt to?
Correct.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. Casselli. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney?
Judge, I have no questions for this witness.
May Mr. Casselli be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here. Your next witness, Ms. Sandler?
Jason Eversole.
Stand right here, face the clerk, raise your right hand.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, you can be seated. You'll speak in the microphone, and I need you to move it over.
Good morning, Mr. Eversole. Can you say and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Jason Eversole, and the last name is spelled Eversole.
Where do you work?
I work with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
What is your title there?
I'm a senior crime laboratory analyst in the Friction Ridge section.
And what is the Friction Ridge section?
The Friction Ridge section, we examine items of evidence for presence of latent prints. And Friction Ridge comes from the skin on the undersides of your fingers and palms and feet, and that friction-ridged skin is different from other sections of your body.
How long have you been with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
About 12 and a half years.
How long have you been doing friction ridge? And maybe for ease, I'm going to say, is friction ridge the same as fingerprint?
Yes,
Okay. How long have you been doing fingerprint examination?
those same 12 and a half years.
And what specialized training and education do you have to have for fingerprint examination?
I've completed my bachelor's in science from Mountain State University in forensic investigation, and then I also have an associate's in criminal justice and forensic science. And then I've completed the FDLE latent print training program.
How long is that program?
It was roughly a year and a half to 2 years long.
How many times have you performed a fingerprint or latent print examination?
Thousands of times.
And can you tell the jury exactly what is a latent print or a fingerprint?
Yeah, so a latent print would be an impression of this friction-ridged skin that can be left behind on an item when you touch it. You don't always leave one behind, but sometimes if there's a substance on the skin like sweat or oils, that may transfer to the item that you're touching, and then a print might be left behind on there.
So you just said you don't always leave a fingerprint behind. Are there surfaces that, some surfaces that are not conducive to leaving fingerprints behind?
Yes, surfaces that are textured, is anything that has rough texture to it would be hard to leave a print on. Fabrics, clothing is pretty hard to get prints off of just because of the thread and how it's made and everything like that.
Can you tell the jury what are the basic factors of using fingerprints as identification?
Fingerprint identification is based off of the uniqueness of the friction-ridged skin and the persistency of it.
So do any two people ever have the same friction ridge impression?
It has never been found in the history of fingerprinting that two different people have the same fingerprints.
Would that include identical twins?
Correct.
Now, how do you make a latent print or a fingerprint examination?
So I would take the latent print, I would analyze it separately, so I would look for different features of that print, and then I would put that side by side with a known print of whoever I'm comparing to, and then I would look side to side to see if I can see the same things in the known print that I'm seeing in the latent print.
And what things are you looking for?
So I'd be looking for the overall ridge pattern to see if that matches. I would then look for the individual ridge characteristics. So we typically look for what's called ending ridges, which are ridges that flow in and then abruptly stop, and then bifurcations, which are ridges that flow and then separate into two or more, like a fork. And then there's other different types of those features, and then other small details of the print that may be able to help me make an identification.
May I approach Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Eversole, I'm showing you what's been previously admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 13. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us how you recognize it?
I recognize it by the FDLE barcode on here, and then my initials that are over top of that.
Okay. And what do your initials indicate?
My initials indicate that I examined this item.
Would you mind opening the box?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me if, is this the item you examined?
Yes.
And can you tell me if there is texture on the grip of that firearm?
Yes, there is.
Thank you. And you performed a full examination of this item?
Correct.
Did you find any latent prints on this item?
No, I did not.
Is that unusual with a textured grip?
No, it's pretty common.
Showing you what's been, and you can close that. Showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 25. I'm sorry, State's Exhibit 26. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
How do you recognize that?
The FDLE barcode and then my initials.
And so you examined that item?
Yes.
Do you mind opening the item? Can you tell us what that is?
This would be an evidence box, which I did examine. I opened it because my name is, or my initials are on the seal.
And what's located in that box?
It would be a cartridge casing.
And a cartridge casing, is that part of the bullet?
Yes.
And what are you looking for on that cartridge casing when you examine it?
I'd be looking for any latent prints on the item.
And you examined that item?
Yes.
Did you find any latent prints on that item?
No.
Is the bottom of the cartridge casing textured?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so would that be unusual not to find a latent print on the bottom of the cartridge casing?
Yes.
It would.
Oh.
So it's pretty common not to have a fingerprint on the bottom?
Right, yes.
Okay. Would a fired cartridge casing, would heat have anything to do with destroying perhaps a latent print that might have been there?
It can, yes.
Okay. And since that's a biohazard, we're not going to ask you to reopen that up. But based on your initials, you're sure that's the cartridge casing that you analyzed?
Yes, I initialed the evidence seal.
And same thing with State's Exhibit number 25 that's been previously admitted into evidence. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
The FDLE barcode and my initials on there.
Did you perform the same examination on that as you did on State's Exhibit number 26?
Yes.
And that's a cartridge casing?
Yes.
Okay. Would you mind opening it? And is that the item you examined?
Yes.
Are your initials on it?
Yes, it.
And again, it's a cartridge casing?
Correct.
And did you find any latent prints of value on that?
No, I did not.
Is that unusual with a cartridge casing?
No, it's not unusual.
And the same question, would heat perhaps destroy latent fingerprint on a cartridge casing?
It's definitely a possibility, yes.
And would that be textured the same as exhibit number 26?
Yes.
So in examining all these exhibits, did you find any latent prints of value?
No, I did not.
And is that unusual in these cases with firearms?
No, it's not.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. Eversole. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney?
Good morning, Mr. Eversole.
Good morning.
So you examined 3 pieces of evidence,
Yes,
and you didn't find fingerprints on any of the 3?
correct.
Thank you.
May Mr. Eversole be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, sir. You're released. Your next witness, Ms. Sandler. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Eversole, if you'll wait 1 second. Is there a question?
I was just asking if the exhibits were still there.
Oh, okay. You're fine,
I've got
Mr.
the exhibits.
Eversole.
I'm
Thank
bringing
you.
them back to you
I
right
thought
now.
I thought the jury had a question, but they don't. Thank you.
May I approach Madam Clerk while she's coming up?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand right here, face the clerk, raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. You can be seated, we'll speak in the microphone in front of you, you can move it if you need. Thank you.
Good morning. Can you say and spell your name for the record?
My name is Bonnie Beal. My first name is spelled B-O-N-N-I-E, and my last name is B-E-A-L.
Where do you work?
I work for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Pensacola Regional Operations Center.
What is your position there?
I am a senior crime laboratory analyst in the document examination section.
And what is the document examination section?
We're the section that examines and compares documents that are in dispute to known documents to determine their authenticity and/or their origin.
How long have you worked there?
I've worked for FDLE for about 6 years.
How long have you been doing question documents examination?
26 years.
And how are you trained in question documents examination?
I received my formal intensive 2-year training program with the Indiana State Police under the certified document examiners there. This training includes reading the books and many articles pertaining to all facets of document examination. During this time, I also took practical examinations and oral boards. At the end of the program, I also had to take a moot court, which I passed all. During that time, I also had the opportunity to go to and attend training with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States Secret Service. I also go out, and to this day, I continue to take training at workshops and seminars.
And can you tell the jury exactly what a question document is?
A question document is a document that is in dispute. That can be the handwriting that's on the document, typewriting, paper, ink, or machine document, anything created by like an office printer.
And is all your professional time devoted to question documents examination?
Yes, it is.
Now, back in 2020, around March or April, were you asked to examine some question documents in a case involving Maria Rodriguez Barnes?
I received evidence in November.
Okay. May I approach Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you said in November you received some items.
Correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am, if you'll show Mr. McKinney first.
Absolutely. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Beal. I'm going to show you a couple of things. Show me first what's been marked for examination, shown to Mr. McKinney as State's Exhibit 5, previously admitted into evidence. Can you tell us what that is?
This is the packaging that item number, State's Exhibit 5, which was my item number 055.
Okay, and what was your item number 055?
055 is the known writings of Mrs. Rodriguez Barnes.
And when you say known writings, what does that mean?
In this particular case, they were exemplars, which is where they go out and they gather the exemplars from that person.
And did you look at these exemplars?
May I pull them out?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
We'll leave those out.
Okay.
The record reflect, I'm showing Ms. Beal what's been previously admitted into evidence and shown to Mr. McKinney as State's Exhibit number 24. Do you recognize that?
May I take it out?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Did you examine that document?
Yes, I did.
Did you compare that document to the exemplars?
Yes, I did.
What was your conclusion comparing that document to the exemplars?
It is probable that Ms. Rodriguez is the writer of the questioned handprinting on State's Exhibit 24.
And why do you say probable?
The limitations in this particular examination was the submission of the knowns. I needed additional known writing.
Did you find similarities? You said probable. Did you find similarities between this document, State's Exhibit 24, and the exemplars?
Yes, I did.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 30 and shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell us what that is? And you may open it.
Yes, I've examined these.
And what is that particular item?
This is an item that contained questioned handprinted entries beginning with my phone password.
vehicle has been marked for identification as States Exhibit 35 and previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
Yes, this is the package that was, it contains my electrostatic detection apparatus, or ESDA, ESDA, lifts that I took from, that these were recovered from States Exhibits 24 and 30.
And you said ESDA, can you explain that to the jury?
ESDA is our electrostatic detection apparatus. This particular machine we can use to bring up and preserve indented impressions that are on top of the document.
And you did that in this case with which document?
I did this with both States Exhibits 24 and 30.
And you created this exhibit?
I did.
And it was under your care, custody, and control before it got sent to the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
And you recognize that because you created it?
That is correct.
Can you go ahead and open it so we can verify that it is what you say it is? And are those your ESDA?
Yes, they are.
State moves to admit exhibit number 35 into evidence.
There would be an objection.
Okay, if you'll please approach.
Hello, this is Chris Norman at Bulldog Bail Bonds. Our office is in Crestview, Florida, but we service 7 Northwest Florida counties. If you ever find yourself in a jam, please give us a call. We're here to help you out.
And Ms. Beal, you said what these were. These are, and I just want to clarify, these are impressions of the notes that have already been admitted into evidence?
Yes, these are lifts that were taken from States Exhibits 24 and 30 that demonstrates any indented impressions that were observed on these documents.
Did you observe any indented impressions?
I did.
What does that indicate to you?
That somebody wrote something else on top of these papers.
And were you able to determine any type of handwriting from those impressions?
I'm not sure I understand.
Were you able to examine that handwriting in comparison to any of the known exemplars?
I did not compare the handwriting the impressions that were on the indented impressions to the to the question documents.
But what you were able to do, just to make sure that I'm clear, is to determine that somebody had handwritten on that paper beforehand.
That is correct.
Now the state will move to admit the exhibit, Your Honor, and that is exhibit number 35.
Judge, I'll renew the objection.
If you'll approach.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AV preeminent rated. Dixie Dan Powell works tirelessly for his clients, as is evident by this extraordinary verdict. If you're taking your case to trial, be prepared. Contact Dixie Dan Powell and Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667.
marked as State's Exhibit number 34 and shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a sealed container that I created. It contains my CD that I created of all the images that I took during my examination.
Would that include the ESTA images?
Yes.
All right, let's move on to how you made your comparisons. If I may use the Wilkerson for
Yes, ma'am.
demonstrative, that's already been provided to Mr. McKinney.
Unless you wanted another.
Now, Ms. Beal, I'm showing you something that you created, correct?
That is correct.
And this is a demonstrative. Can you tell us how you do document comparison?
Yes. When a document case first comes into the laboratory, when I'm assigned, I first inventory everything. I then will examine the question documents first. I'm looking, do I have an original? Do I have a copy? I'm looking at class and individual characteristics. Class characteristics are traits that are common to a group of people. For instance, a class that's learning how to write the same style. Excuse me. Individual characteristics are traits that will take that one individual and pull them out of that group because of the individuality of their handwriting. After I have completed my entire examination of the question documents, I will then go and I examine the known documents. Again, it's the same type of examination. Do I have an original? Do I have a copy? I'm looking at the class and individual characteristics. Do I have a single writer? I will then, after I've done all these examinations, compare the documents side by side. When I conduct a side-by-side comparison, I am observing and marking similarities and dissimilarities that I have observed throughout the process. This particular demonstrative aid that is up here is to show you how I conduct a comparison examination.
And did you examine the individual and class characteristics on State's Exhibit 24?
I did.
And your conclusion was probably wrote?
Yes.
And did you examine individual and class characteristics on State's 30?
I did.
And your conclusion was on that note?
It is probable.
Okay. And tell us where probably wrote falls on the spectrum of your analysis.
So there are 9 conclusions that I'm able to arrive to. In the middle, start off with you cannot eliminate nor identify a person to the writer. I'm going to call that neither nor. That is where the examination begins. I have no clue which way we're going. On one side, we have identification. This is where everything is that is in the question document is found and observed in the known documents. This person wrote this document. On the total opposite side is elimination. Everything that is, the things that are in the question document are not being found in the known. this person did not write this particular document. Now, in between the middle point, neither nor, and that identification are three qualified conclusions. A step down from identification is highly probable, this person wrote. This is where nearly everything is observed from the question document is found in the known, but there's something missing, or there's a limitation. For instance, I don't have an original. A step down from that is probable, this person wrote. There are many there are many similarities between the questioned and the known writings, but again, there are some limitations, and there may be some dissimilarities. Just a step up from the neither nor is our weakest qualifier, which is indications may have written. And this is where we were having some limitations in the handwriting. We may have similarities and we may have some dissimilarities. Those same three qualifiers are also on the elimination side. Indications may not have written, probably did not write, and highly probably did not write.
And Ms. Beal, when you make a conclusion of probably wrote, does that mean that there are far more similarities than there are dissimilarities?
Yes.
Ms. Beal, did you prepare a report with your conclusions?
I did.
Is that report regularly kept in your course of business?
Yes, it is.
And is that report usually kept under the care, custody, and control of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes, it is.
And do you prepare a report for every analysis that you do?
I do.
Madam Clerk, can you tell me what exhibit number I'm on? I just want to be exact. 46? 36? May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Record reflect, I'm showing Ms. Beal what's been marked as State's Exhibit 36 and also shown to Mr. McKinney. Is that a true and accurate copy of the report you prepared in this case?
Yes, it is.
State moves to admit Exhibit number 36, the report prepared by Ms. Beal.
Mr. McKinney, it's admitted.
Those are all the questions I have for you, Ms. Beal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney?
Yes, sir. Ms. Beal, good morning.
Good morning.
If we were to break down what you do every day, do you compare documents side by side?
Yes, I do.
And in this case, is that what you did?
Yes, I did.
And did you follow the standard procedures like you normally do?
Yes, I did.
And after you reviewed the evidence that was provided, did you determine that it fell short of what's necessary to form a conclusive opinion?
That is correct.
So you would need more information to go back and make a conclusive opinion.
Yes, I would need additional known writings.
So effectively what you're saying is that when you compared these documents side by side, they look similar.
There were similarities that were in the question documents, characteristics in the question documents that were observed in the known. Yes.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Handler?
I have no follow-up, Your Honor.
May Ms. Beal be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Beal. You're released.
Your Honor, may I return these to Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am, please.
State calls Jeff Foggy. Madam Clerk, before Mr. Foggy approaches, is 37 available?
Yes, that's an available number Stand right in front of the chair, face the clerk, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can have a seat. You'll
Thank
speak
you.
in a microphone in front of you. You can move it if you need to.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Foggy. Can you say and spell your name for the record?
My name is Jeff Foggy. Last name spelled F-O-G-G-Y.
Where do you work, Mr. Foggy?
I work as a supervisor over the Friction Ridge and Firearms section in Tallahassee, Florida, at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
How long have you been there?
Approximately 25 years in November.
And you just told us your position. You're over firearms in Friction Ridge?
That's correct.
But what is your specialty?
Previous to being the supervisor, I was a special agent at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I was also a crime laboratory analyst in the firearms section, as well as a senior crime laboratory analyst in the firearms section.
Now, as an analyst in the firearms section, what are your normal responsibilities?
So as an analyst in the firearms section, my main duties are to examine firearms, determine if they function properly and safely. I microscopically examine fired components, bullets, cartridge cases, to determine if they can be identified to each other or to a firearm or eliminated from each other or a firearm. On occasion, I'll test the trigger pull of a firearm. I'll do the overall barrel length or measurements of firearms, and on occasion, I'll do serial number restoration.
And Mr. Foggy, what is your training in order to be able to do that?
I have 2 degrees, one in chemical sciences from Florida State University and one in forensic science from the University of Central Florida. Apart from that, I have approximately 2 years of specialized training in the area of firearms identification while at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Mr. Foggy, how many firearms identification analyses have you done in your career?
Thousands.
Do you carry any certifications?
I'm certified by Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the state of Florida to conduct independent examination in firearms identification.
And do you regularly go to trainings to keep up with changes in technology and things like that?
Yes, ma'am. We're required to do 16 hours of continuing education. That's per year.
Let's talk a little bit about firearms identification. Can you tell us exactly what firearms identification is?
So firearms identification is that portion of forensic science that is focused on the way a firearm marks components. So when a firearm is produced, the tools that make that firearm will leave random imperfections on the inside surfaces. So in firearms identification, we're looking at those components, the bullets, the cartridge cases, and we're comparing those markings created by the firearm on those items using what's called a comparison microscope. Comparison microscope is 2 microscopes side by side, one field of view, lots of magnifications that allows me to compare 2 items at one time, same magnification, same position. And so what we're trying to do is determine, can these items be identified to or eliminated from a particular firearm?
And what is it that makes firearms identification possible? And a better way to say that is, what is special about a gun that allows you to do what you do?
So the basic principle is the gun is a hard object and the bullet or cartridge case are softer objects. So the harder object will mark the softer object. And like I said before, as the firearm is made, the tools that make that firearm will leave minute microscopic imperfections on the inside surfaces. They're random in nature. They're not meant to be done during the manufacturing process, but allows me to examine those areas and determine if they can be identified or eliminated.
And you just mentioned cartridge cases. What is a cartridge case? I know we're in Florida, most of us know, but can you just tell us what that is for the record?
So a cartridge case is a portion of a full unit of ammunition, or commonly called a bullet. The cartridge case holds a primer, gunpowder, and the projectile or bullet. So there are 4 pieces to it. The cartridge case is the fired or leftover portion. So when you fire it, It's either expelled from the firearm, depending on which type of firearm it is, or it's held within the firearm, depending on if it's a revolver.
And can you explain in a little more detail what it is about that process that allows you to make a solid identification?
So the cartridge, as the unfired round, would be inside the firearm. As it's fired, there's explosive forces, there's swelling, there's all kinds of things that go on that make that item, whether it be a bullet or a cartridge case, come into contact with the hard surface of the firearm. I then look at those areas with the microscope and determine if I can make an identification or elimination.
Are there specific characteristics that you look at?
So during the manufacturing process, there's a class characteristic and an individual characteristics. Class characteristics are like the blueprint of a firearm. They're predetermined before manufacturing. It might be like the caliber of the firearm, how they're going to make the inside surface of that firearm, what kind of materials they're going to use. So I'm looking at class features. Once I've determined class features are the same, I then move on to the individual features. And those individual features are those minute microscopic imperfections that I look at.
And how do you determine the individual features of a firearm?
Through test firing the firearm, and then I use those test fires. I compare them using that comparison microscope, get an idea of how that gun is marking, and then if there's anything submitted to compare to, I will use those test fires and compare it against those items.
Now, back in 2020, did you have an opportunity to examine evidence related to Maria Rodriguez Barnes?
I did.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Foggy, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 37 and shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell us what that is?
These would be the test fires that I created in the laboratory with the particular firearm that was submitted.
Is this a true and accurate representation of what you test fired?
Yes,
And are those your initials on the back?
they are.
And did you package these test fires yourself?
I did.
Your Honor, State moves to admit Exhibit number 37 into evidence.
Without objection.
It's admitted.
May I approach Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Foggy, I'm showing you what's been previously admitted into evidence and previously shown to Mr. McKinney as State's Exhibit 13. Do you recognize that?
Internal as well?
You may.
I do.
Is that the firearm that these test fires, Exhibit number 37, came from?
It is.
And the gun was in full working order?
That's correct.
Were you able to observe on your test fires individual and class characteristics?
I was.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 25 and previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell us what that is?
It's a fired 9mm Luger caliber cartridge case is contained within this packaging.
And did you perform an analysis on that cartridge casing compared to your test fires?
I did.
What did you determine?
It was my opinion based on the markings created that it was fired from this firearm.
shown you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 26 and previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
This is also contained within here a fired 9mm Luger caliber cartridge case.
And did you examine that item?
I did.
Did you compare it to your testifiers?
I did.
What was your conclusion?
In my opinion, based on the markings in my examination, it was fired in the firearm.
And did you do that by comparing the individual and class characteristics?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm showing you what's been previously admitted and shown to Mr. McKinney as State's Exhibit 27. Can you tell me what that is?
Contained within here is a fired bullet or fired projectile.
And how are you able to make examinations on the actual projectile itself?
As the round is fired, the bullet or projectile goes down the barrel. It also does it swells a little bit, so it comes into contact with the inside surfaces of that barrel. When a firearm is created, they put rifling inside the barrel. Those are spiral grooves, give the bullet twists, gives it accuracy. And so what happens is when you fire the round, the bullet will go down that barrel, start to twist, come into contact with those rifling marks, and create individual characteristics.
So much like the shell casing.
That's correct. Just a different part of the firearm is making the marks.
Were you able to perform an analysis on the projectile itself?
I was.
Compared with your testifiers?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you able to determine?
It's my opinion, based on my examination, that it was identified to the pistol, fired in the pistol.
So an easier way of saying that would be that that bullet came from that gun?
That's correct.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 28 and shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell us what that is?
This is also a fired bullet.
And did you perform the same analysis on that bullet as you did on the other bullet?
I did.
Were you able to make an identification?
I was.
What identification did you make?
Again, in my opinion, based on the markings in my examination, it was identified to the pistol.
And did you do that microscopically?
I did.
So is it your professional opinion that all of these items, 28, 27, 25, and 26 all came from this firearm?
Yes, it's my opinion they were identified to the firearm.
Phil, approach.
Back Home Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview's historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items. And we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m.
Can you
to 4
repeat the question?
p.m. Yes, sir.
Is it your opinion that these exhibits, 25, 26, 27, and 28, all came from this firearm?
Yes, ma'am, that's my opinion.
And what kind of firearm is this?
It's a Glock 9mm Luger caliber firearm.
And what was the serial number on that firearm?
The serial number was BERP142.
Thank you, Mr. Foggy. Those are all the questions I have. Actually, let me ask one more question before I tender the witness. Are you able to tell who fired this?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. McKinney?
Yes, Judge.
Good morning.
Can you explain to the jury the importance of using a laboratory magazine as opposed to using the magazine that's in evidence?
I used a laboratory magazine because I was not submitted the evidence magazine.
So in this case, you effectively used your own bullets for the test fires?
It's common practice, yes, I use laboratory stock ammunition, and in this case I used a laboratory ammunition, or laboratory magazine as well.
So the magazine that was originally bought with that gun, when it was bought from the store, wasn't actually inserted or fired.
Not by me. It was not submitted for my analysis.
No further questions.
Can you redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Foggy, would using your stock ammunition change the results?
No, the stock ammunition is what we use to test fire the firearm.
And when you test fire using stock ammunition, does it show the same class characteristics and individual characteristics as the items you examine?
Yes, it does.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. May Mr. Foggy be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Foggy.
Thank you.
Released. Ms. Sandler, your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Back Home Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items, and we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving lunch from 11 to 2. We hope to see you soon.
Hello, I am Bonnie from Body Be Healthy here in Crestview. We have been serving the area
Ladies
since
and gentlemen, we'll take a
1999.
15-minute
We're
recess.
alternative health
You'll please put your legal pads
If
in your
you're
envelope,
interested
put that on the
in,
rail in front of you.
bettering your health,
Don't make up your mind yet. Don't discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone else, face-to-face or electronically.
I'm Amanda Gaskin with Briarpatch Realty. Helping qualified heroes save money is my passion. When I help a hero buy or sell a home, they receive a check from Homes for Heroes. Check out amandasheroes.com for more information.
For more than 70 years, the sweet aroma of the Crestview Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs has permeated the downtown area. If you have not experienced the unique flavor of Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs, then I encourage you to join us for lunch. Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., Friday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We're located in historic downtown Crestview at 107 North Main Street. Call 850-683-1045.
CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer since 1999. We're state licensed and insured, family owned and operated with 24 years of local service. We specialize in shingles and metal, re-roofs, repairs, and leak specialists. For all of your roofing needs, call us today or visit our website at cqroofing.com. CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer.
Hey, I'm David at Family Vision of Crestview. We've been providing excellent optical service for Northwest Florida for over 34 years. Come in and let us take care of you.
Man, I got this. Let's roll.
Fight fire with fire, take one.
Have you been injured in an accident and need righteous representation? Call us, because we fight fire. Damn thing ain't working. Whoa! Not cool, bro.
I'm attorney Coy Browning. Personal injury is no joke. Just ask him.
Injured? Take a breath. Call Coy.
Check out the soaps, bath bombs, and other bath and body products, all made by hand with natural ingredients at Hub City Soapery. Visit us at 1092 North Verdon Boulevard in Crestview or shop online at hubcitysoapery.com. Hub City Soapery.
This is Tiffany Woodham, State Farm's newest agent in Crestview. I'd like to personally invite you to stop by my office for a no-cost policy review. Let me help you start saving today. Call in, walk in, or click in at yourcrestviewagent.com.
Alex Barthay from the UPS store once again, and I wanted to let you know about our Sunday hours. We're open now 7 days a week. Normal hours that you've been expecting, but now we're open Saturday 10 to 4, Sunday 10 to 3, and that's both our Crestview, Fort Walton Beach, and Eglin Air Force Base locations. So you have things to do, go and do it. Just know the UPS store is going to be here. Again, Sundays 10 until 3 p.m.
For years, I proudly served Florida as a state trooper. During that time, I investigated over 1,000 car, motorcycle, and trucking crashes. My mission was simple, to help the victims. Now, as an injury attorney, I can do even more to help accident victims. Hi, I'm attorney Coy Browning. If you've been injured in a car accident, I'd be honored to help you. Call or visit us at browninglawfirm.com.
Hi, I'm Wanda Roberts. For the last 20 years, I've been helping the residents of Northwest Florida buy and sell their properties. My office is just 1 block south of the courthouse in historic downtown Crestview. Give us a call at 850-398-5389.
Hi, I'm Michael Gilbert, defense attorney with Warrior Law. I represent those accused in Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton County. If you or anyone you know has been accused of a crime, give us a call. We can help.
The Cottage Formalware, located at 648 North Wilson Street, has all your needs for looking your best. We have homecoming, prom, and pageant dresses. We have tux rental suits, vests, ties. Need something casual? We have that too. Shop Hometown First and visit us on Facebook at the Cottage Boutique and Formalware. We're located at 648 North Wilson Street. Call 850-682-2446.
Hello, this is Chris Norman at Bulldog Bail Bonds. Our office is in Crestview, Florida, but we service 7 Northwest Florida counties. If you ever find yourself in a jam, please give us a call. We're here to help you out.
Congratulations, Crestview's very own Dixie Dan Powell of Powell Injury Law, for your recent jury verdict of $11.5 million for your client from a death and injury against an inflatable amusement company. Recognized in 2017 as one of the top 100 civil trial lawyers in the state of Florida, and Dixie is AV preeminent rated. Dixie Dan Powell works tirelessly for his clients, as is evident by this extraordinary verdict. If you're taking your case to trial, be prepared. Contact Dixie Dan Powell and Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667.
Back Home Bakery Cafe is 2 blocks from the courthouse on Crestview's historic Main Street. We serve handmade pastries, espresso, and lunch items, and we're open Tuesday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving lunch from 11 to 2. We hope to see you soon.
Hello, I am Bonnie from Body Be Healthy here in Crestview. We have been serving the area since 1999. We're an alternative health food store. If you're interested in bettering your health, we'd like to invite you to stop by. We're located in Court Plaza. Stop by and let us help you be healthy.
I'm Amanda Gaskin with Briarpatch Realty. Helping qualified heroes save money is my passion. When I help a hero buy or sell a home, they receive a check from Homes for Heroes. Check out amandasheroes.com for more information.
For more than 70 years, the sweet aroma of the Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs has permeated the downtown area. If you have not experienced the unique flavor of Crestview's Coney Islands burgers and hot dogs, then I encourage you to join us for lunch. Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., Friday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We're located in historic downtown Crestview at 107 North Main Street. Call 850-683-1045.
CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer since 1999. We're state licensed and insured, family owned and operated with 24 years of local service. We specialize in shingles and metal, re-roofs, repairs, and leak specialists. For all of your roofing needs, call us today or visit our website at cqroofing.com. CQ Roofing, your hometown roofer.
Hey, I'm David at Family Vision of Crestview. We've been providing excellent optical service for Northwest Florida for over 34 years. Come in and let us take care of you.
Man, I've got this. Let's roll.
Fight fire with fire, take 1.
Have you been injured in an accident and need righteous representation? Call us, because we fight fire. Damn thing ain't working.
Whoa! Not cool, bro. I'm attorney Coy Browning. Personal injury is no joke. Just ask him.
Injured? Take a breath. Call Coy.
swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please be seated. You'll speak on the microphone in front of you. You can move it if you need.
Good morning, Ms. Wilkerson. Can you
Morning.
state and spell your name for the record?
Jennifer Wilkerson, Wilkerson.
Where are you employed?
I'm employed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I'm a crime laboratory analyst in both the biology and crime scene sections.
What is your field of specialization?
For this case, my involvement was with the biology section, so serology and DNA.
How long have you been with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Since 2006.
And what is your training and experience in biology?
I have a bachelor's degree in biology from the College of William and Mary. I have a master's degree in biomedical sciences from Eastern Virginia Medical School. I have a master's degree in forensic science from Virginia Commonwealth University, and I completed about the year training program with FDLE in serology and DNA testing.
In the biology department, what are your duties?
I examine items of evidence for the presence of body fluids like blood or semen. I will also be occasionally asked to swab an item for touch or wear DNA. This is skin cells that were left behind by a person that handled the item or wore it if it was clothing. I would then take that on and develop a DNA profile, and then I'll compare that DNA profile to other DNA profiles in the case.
Approximately how many DNA analyses have you run?
I've run over 20,000 samples through DNA.
Did you have an occasion to run DNA samples in a case involving Maria Rodriguez Barnes?
Yes.
Did you prepare a report in that case?
Yes.
Now let's step back for just a second. Now you said DNA. Can you tell us what DNA is?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it's your genetic blueprint. Kind of like the blueprint for your house is going to tell you where the bedroom and the kitchen are. DNA is ultimately going to tell you what color hair you're going to have, what color eyes, how many fingers and toes you get half from your mother and half from your father.
And why is DNA important?
DNA is important because it can link a subject to a crime, it can help prove statements, and it can free the innocent.
Is DNA the same in all people or different?
It's different with the exception of identical twins. That's why they look alike. They have the same DNA.
Okay. You mentioned that you prepared a report.
Yes.
May I approach Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wilkerson, I'm showing you an item that's been previously 13 previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
Can you tell me what it is?
it's a Glock handgun.
And what did you do with it?
I swabbed certain areas of it for the person that touched or held the gun.
And did you perform an analysis on those swabs?
Yes.
And what was your analysis?
Would you like me to explain the DNA process?
Can you explain? Yes, please.
So what I do is I take the swab and I place it in a tube, and I add chemicals and heat to this tube, and it breaks open the cells and lets the DNA out. It's called an extraction. It then undergoes quantitation. This just tells me how much DNA is in the sample that I'm working with. Then it will undergo amplification. This is making millions of copies of the specific areas of the DNA that I look at. It then gets put on a genetic analyzer, which is the instrument that gives me the DNA profile. When a DNA profile comes off, it's a graph with peaks on it. Those peaks get assigned numbers by software. So when I'm comparing profiles, it's really like looking at two sets of numbers to see if they're the same.
Okay. What was the result of your analysis on this item?
For the Glock, it actually, during that quantitation step, it showed not enough DNA to continue the process. Meaning I was not going to get a profile that was worth comparison based on the quantitation value. So the process was stopped at that point.
Does that mean that there's not DNA on the firearm at all?
There wasn't enough in the areas that I swabbed to get a usable DNA profile.
But that's not conclusive that there's no DNA on the gun?
Yes, I was limited to where I could swab because the firearm was then going to go to our latent print or friction ridge section. And so smooth areas of the handgun, I can't swab because they're going to print it for fingerprints.
And so did you only swab textured areas?
Yes.
So you really can't conclusively say whether or not there's DNA on this gun?
Not on the whole gun, no.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 19 and previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
This is a buccal swab from Jackson Rodriguez Barnes.
And what analysis did you perform on that?
Buccal swab is just a swabbing from the inside of the cheek to get that person's known DNA profile. So I ran a cutting of that swab through that process, and I developed a complete profile to be used as the standard for Jackson Rodriguez Barnes.
And you just stated that was a complete profile?
Yes, a complete profile.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 35. Can you tell me what that is? And it's also previously been shown to Mr. McKinney.
These are buccal swabs from Maria Rodriguez Barnes.
And what did you do with that?
Again, I ran a cutting of the swabs from the DNA process, and I developed a complete DNA profile for Maria Rodriguez Barnes.
Are your initials on both these packages?
Yes.
Is that how you can tell that these are the swabs that you analyzed?
My initials, the case number is on the yellow stickers, the FDLE case number and exhibit numbers.
All right, I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 20 and previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
These are swabs from the steering wheel and a gear shift.
And what did you do with those?
Again, I took them through the DNA process. And for the steering wheel, I developed a mixture consistent with 3 individuals. A mixture means more than one person is contributing to that DNA profile. And for the gear shift, I developed a mixture consistent with 2 donors.
Okay, and who were those 2 donors?
From the gear shift, Maria Rodriguez Barnes was included as a possible contributor to that mixed DNA profile. And the statistic showing how good of a conclusion that is the observed mixed DNA profile is greater than 700 billion times more likely to occur if the sample originated from Maria Rodriguez Barnes and an unrelated individual than from 2 unrelated individuals. I also compared Jackson Rodriguez Barnes. He was also included as a possible contributor to that mixed DNA profile. And the observed mixed DNA profile is approximately 12 million times more likely to occur if the sample originated from Jackson Rodriguez Barnes and an unrelated individual than from 2 unrelated individuals.
Did you also test those swabs for the presence of blood?
Yes. The gear shift failed to give indications for the presence of blood, and the steering wheel gave chemical indications for the presence of blood.
So just to be clear, in this particular packet of evidence, are there 2 swabs?
Yes, there was a set from the steering wheel and a set from the gear shift.
So there's a swab for the steering wheel?
Yes, and it was separate, or labeled separately in a separate sleeve than the one from the gear shift.
Okay.
And I ran them separately through the process.
I just wanted to be clear, there are 2 items.
Yes.
And you tested one item, and that had a mixed DNA profile on it with Jackson Barnes and Maria Rodriguez Barnes.
The gear shift did, the steering wheel had a mixture of 3, and both Maria Rodriguez Barnes and Jackson Rodriguez Barnes were included to that mixture as well.
Were you able to pull out that 3rd profile?
No. I could compare it to somebody if I had an additional buccal swab, but I can't pull out the profile.
Showing you what's been previously admitted into evidence as states exhibit number 27 and shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
This was a projectile from the front passenger seat, which I believe was determined later that it was actually the rear passenger seat.
And you said you wrote a report in this case. Did you amend your report to reflect that it was actually the rear seat?
Yes, the agency contacted FDLE and said that the description was incorrect and had me change it to, and I wrote an amended report to reflect that change of the location.
But your results did not change?
Correct.
And that was just a scrivener's error?
Yes.
On the part of the sheriff's office to begin with?
Yes, we just go by the description on the sticker on the package.
Okay. So when you did your amended report, nothing changed but the correct labeling?
Yes.
And did you analyze that projectile?
Yes.
And what were your conclusions with that projectile?
I took a swabbing of the projectile and ran it through the DNA process. And from the projectile from the rear passenger seat, I developed a complete DNA profile, and that profile matched Jackson Rodriguez Barnes.
And you did not find Maria Rodriguez Barnes' DNA on that particular projectile?
I did not.
And again, just to clarify, this is a projectile from the rear passenger seat?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as states exhibit number 28, previously shown to Mr. McKinney. Can you tell me what this is?
This is a projectile from the rear passenger pillar and seat area.
Is that correctly labeled?
As best of my knowledge, yes.
And you weren't asked to change that one?
Correct.
And did you perform an analysis on that projectile?
Yes.
How did you perform that analysis?
I took a swabbing from the outside of the projectile and ran it through the DNA process, and I developed a complete DNA profile, and that profile matched Maria Rodriguez Barnes.
Was any of Jackson Barnes' DNA located on that projectile?
No.
Now, we just talked about your amended report. Do you write a report on every analysis that you do?
Yes.
And is that report regularly kept in the course of ordinary business?
Yes.
And is that report required by the Board of Education Law?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, what exhibit number are we up to? For clarification. 38. 38?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked for identification purposes, states exhibit number 38. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
It is the report that I authored dated July 23rd, 2020.
Is this your amended report to reflect the correct labeling of the item?
It is. The amended report is actually at the top of the report.
And this is the report that you created?
Yes.
And this is fair and accurate representation of your report?
Yes.
There have been no material changes or alterations?
No.
And it's regularly kept in the course of your business?
Yes.
And FDLE?
Yes.
Statement of school that exhibit number 38, Your Honor?
Without objection.
It's admitted.
State tenders, Ms. Wilkerson, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. McKinney?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Wilkerson.
Morning.
When we read your report and it says projectile from rear passenger seat or projectile from rear passenger seat pillar, you stated that that information is provided to you by the arresting agency?
Yes.
So you have no part in how that's labeled, it just ends up on your desk and it's labeled and where it came from?
Yes.
From that position, then you do your analysis and that's what's in your report?
Yes.
And what you've stated is that one bullet matched Jackson Rodriguez Barnes,
Yes, the DNA on one projectile matched Jackson Rodriguez Barnes.
and then one matched Maria Rodriguez Barnes.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Sandler?
No redirect, Your Honor.
May Ms. Wilkerson be released?
She may, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. You're released.
Thank you.
Ms. Sandler, your next witness.
Be Dr. Deanna Oleski.